This is Fluff. You're watching the Speak of the Devil podcast.
Hey, welcome to Speak of the Devil podcast. This is Doyle.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 21 of the Speak of the Devil podcast. As you've seen from the intro, we had our friend Fluff from Repose actually helping us out with our intro, as we've had Doyle. And let's get right to it. Last night, we were actually at the Repose show. I have a couple clips at the end. Unless they get flagged by the band or whatever, they will be on the podcast so you guys can see the highlights of what I saw. It was an amazing show. It was cool to see these guys that, I've been watching, their YouTube channels for years and, wish to grow mine just like theirs, even in a tiny fraction. But it was not only that, the performance that they had. What was really interesting is that, I've, being local, we've played, as you can see from the wall back there, seen and played a lot of Frankies shows. It was interesting last night is they actually brought their own kind of mini light show, and we've seen that before. Angel Vivaldi did the same thing. He had his own light show too, but it was interesting, like the placements of like the lights that you'll see in the videos that I'll post after this. But not only that, a great performance as well. It was a really fun time. Had hooked up with some other Toledo local people. That we saw some people from Felonious Assault from Toledo here as well. Hooked up and talked to the guitar player there. It was fun, and it was a great night. So great night at Frankie's last night, and thank you to Repose. It was a great show. Thank you, Fluff. Thank Jared Dines, everybody else. Wonderful, and it was great to see you guys in Toledo. Hope you see again, and maybe we'll even play for you next time. But moving on to video games, there's a couple games that I'd like to talk about. A couple games that I've actually, one I haven't really even played. It was more kind of just like observing some clips on YouTube, and that's Detroit Become Human for PS4. It's just one of those. It's almost like an interactive movie cutscene, real time events kind of thing. Pressing buttons and kind of thing. But you make decisions, and there's like 40 different endings. And, every decision has a, different outcome on the story. And, it's basically a story of a kind of dystopian Detroit, like in 2038, where like androids are a thing, and they're like a product. And now they're finally becoming self-aware, kind of like humans. Like the AI has advanced that far where now they are feeling fear and real emotions and acting out. And really cool game. I would suggest playing it if you'd like to do that, or, there's a ton of YouTube clips as well. It's almost like, it's really like an interactive movie, but so well done. The graphics are great concept, awesome game. And the other game that I want to give a shout out to, which is my personal favorite right now, is Paladins on Nintendo Switch. Kind of like a hidden gem almost, because going into E3 there's all these talks about so many Nintendo franchises and games and other things like Wolfenstein that's coming out too. But this game, and I know it's been out for a while on PC and everything, but this is the first game that's a true it's not quite Overwatch. Overwatch has a bit more depth and a little bit more kind of a community that understands what they're playing, especially on Switch. It's kind of like you're either on a team that's great or bad. But what's great about it is it's full 60 frames action on the Switch that you've never seen before. And they don't really hype it up that much that Paladins is this big game, but it is. It's wonderful. It's $30 right now to get in on the intro. I guess in a couple weeks or a month or so you can just play the free version. But on the Switch, outside of Doom, and Doom is fun, but Doom is taking like this game that is made for PS4 and shrinking it down to a 60 frames per second, experience down to a 30. This is true 60 frames. And, the graphics, are great. They're just like Overwatch, and, highly recommended. It's definitely the game of the summer. Like two summers ago, Overwatch was the game of the summer. This year in 2018, Paladins is the game of the summer for me. So that's my opinion. So lastly, we will leave you with some wrestling. Then we'll move on to those rest repose clips. But right now, it's Father's Day. We are watching Money in the Bank. And so far, I'm actually live right now watching it. I can't show any of it. Otherwise, even the two people that are going to watch this podcast wouldn't be able to watch it because we'd be flagged down. But so far, I have seen that Seth Rollins defended his Intercontinental title against Elias. Elias is so good. He comes out with the guitar gimmick and then just trashes the audience. It's great. And right now, I'm actually in the midst of the AJ Styles Shinsuke Nakamura match, and this is a barn burner. These guys are it's a slobber knocker, as Jim Ross would say. And this is wonderful. This is a last man standing match, so it's got to go to a 10 count out with the referee counting them out. I have no idea who's going to win this. I think this might be Shinsuke's crowning a moment here as being a heel, because AJ's defended it many, many times in many situations, and this might be the time that he breaks. But in terms of the rest of the night, I will say the only other thing that I have not seen, which is the main event, is the men's Money in the Bank. And again, I'm a huge Finn Balor fan, and tonight it has to be Finn Balor's night. I know a lot of people say that he's had some victories on Raw that make it seem like it, storyline-wise, it wouldn't make sense for him to win. But I think storyline-wise, it makes sense for him to win, because he hasn't been the Demon since he beat AJ Styles last fall. And it's time to get some push. If he has the contract, that'll give him a chance to put his character back where it was 2 years ago when he was the first Universal Champion. So Finn Balor for my pick for the Money in the Bank. And that is it. We will see you on the next Speak of the Devil podcast. Here's some rest repose for you guys from Toledo.
See ya.